Shraddha's friends stopped hearing from her in May. By June, she was already gone, but no one knew. Because the man who said he loved her had packed her body in a fridge, piece by piece. Aaftab Poonawala didn't run. He didn't hide. He stayed exactly where he was, sleeping next to the fridge that held her body, and acting like nothing had happened. She was reported missing 5 months later. By then, he had scattered her across a forest like trash. Over 18 nights, 35 pieces. He didn't panic. He planned, bought a fridge, a saw, garbage bags. Every night between 2 and a.m., he made a trip, dumped her in parts, took different routes, covered his tracks. You can hear the question screaming underneath. How does someone murder and then wait 18 nights to finish hiding it? This isn't just a story about murder. It's about silence. It's about how society lets women disappear in plain sight. How neighbors hear the screams and still look away. How we miss the signs until it's too late. If this already has you frozen in shock, pause and subscribe. These aren't just stories. They're screams we ignored the first time. Shraddha Walker was 27. She worked in a call center in Mumbai, lived a modest life, but her world was rich with color. She loved photography, art, nature, music. The ordinary things most people overlook, she captured them. She was close to her father, but had pulled away lately. She wanted freedom. Like many young women, she was torn between expectations and her own dreams. Her Instagram showed a girl full of wanderlust. Her texts revealed the tiredness of someone struggling to balance work, love, and life. She smiled, but there were cracks. Cracks only some people noticed. She had friends. She had plans. But she was slowly becoming isolated. Aaftab was changing her not with love, but with control. Still, she held on. Still, she believed this was part of growing up, that she had chosen this life, and now she had to make it work. She wasn't a risk taker. She was a believer. She believed in love, in effort, in second chances. She was 27, and she never made it to 28. How does someone with so much light end up in so much darkness? A girl who took pictures of sunsets. A girl who loved small joys. The world didn't deserve to lose her like this. They met on Bumble, a modern love story. She swiped right. He was charming, said all the right things, promised travel, fun, and forever. She believed him. It started like any other relationship. Coffee dates, texts at midnight, dreams of moving in, and then they did. First in Mumbai, then in Delhi. She left her home, her father, her comfort zone, but soon, the shifts came. He told her what to wear, who she could talk to, when she could go out. He hit her once, then again. She told her manager, told her friends. She even texted that if anything happened to her, it would be him. They begged her to leave, but she didn't. Because leaving isn't always simple. Because abuse wears you down. Because love, when manipulated, turns into a cage you think you built yourself. He apologized, promised to change, said he was sorry, and she stayed. Because love had become survival, and survival had become silence. She wasn't weak. She was trapped, and still trying to believe. Why are women taught to fix the men who are breaking them? By the time she realized he wouldn't change, it was already too late. Aaftab didn't just kill Shraddha that night in May. He had been chipping away at her for months, and nobody stopped him. It was a Thursday, May 18, 2022. Another fight like the dozens before it, but this time it ended in silence. According to Aaftab, it started over finances. She confronted him about his lies, his cheating. The argument escalated. She screamed. He snapped. He didn't hit her this time. He strangled her. In the apartment they shared, on the floor where they used to talk about travel, he held her neck until she stopped moving, until the struggle stopped, until her silence finally matched his need for control. And then he waited. Hours passed. He didn't call for help, didn't try to save her. He opened his phone, ordered food, slept next to her body. The next day, he went shopping, bought a new fridge, bought a saw, garbage bags, cleaning products. That's when the second murder began, the murder of her dignity. He laid out her body, started cutting head, arms, legs, piece by piece, placed each part in plastic, wrapped it tight, placed it in the fridge. She went from a living woman to meat in a freezer. That's how he saw her. That's how he treated her. What kind of monster needs 18 nights to finish the lie? Because this wasn't a snap decision. This was methodical, cold, premeditated. He didn't just kill her, he erased her, like she never mattered. And no one, not the neighbors, not the landlord, not even her friends knew she was already gone. It was a single-door fridge, hidden in the corner of the apartment. White, ordinary, inside were the remains of Shraddha Walker, carefully packed, frozen, while the city sweated under summer heat. Her body stayed cold, preserved by the man who murdered her, the man who claimed to love her. He lived around her remains, ate dinner, watched shows, slept, took showers, all while her pieces were inside. But he didn't stop there. He brought women home. Dates, hookups, women from dating apps. He charmed them the same way, laughed, kissed, held them, with the fridge just feet away. How do you bring a date home with a murder in your freezer? Because that's what this is. Beyond cruelty, beyond evil, it's numbness, it's erasure. For nearly a month, he lived normally, posted on social media, used her phone to text friends, told her father she was fine. Every time someone asked where Shraddha was, he became her, replied in her voice, mimicked her tone, lied like he'd rehearsed, and still not a single knock on the door. No one came looking. She was there, her entire body, just in pieces, not buried, not honored, stored, like leftovers. Every night, between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., he became a delivery man, not of life but of death. He wore a mask, carried a bag, looked like someone taking out trash. Each night, a different piece. One night, a hand, another night, a thigh, then ribs, then a head. He chose Mayrali Forest, deep, dense, unlit, the perfect place to hide secrets. He took different routes, wore gloves, avoided CCTV. He did his research, and still not once was he stopped. No traffic cop, no neighbor, no friend. He had enough time to hide her 35 different ways, and the world just kept moving. This is not just about a man disposing of a body. This is about a society that lets monsters walk free at night while women have to carry pepper spray just to buy groceries. No cameras caught him. No guards questioned him. It took him 18 nights. By the end, Shraddha was gone. Not in one place, but everywhere, scattered, and even in death, she was alone. He went home, slept like nothing happened, and no one suspected a thing. Shraddha's friends were the first to feel it. The silence. She stopped replying to texts. Her phone was active, but her voice was gone. Some of them messaged Aaftab. He replied, said she was fine, said she was busy, said she was on a trip, said all the things liars say when the truth would burn. For weeks, they waited, checked her social media, watched for signs, but Shraddha was always online, always just out of reach, because it wasn't her. It was him. Aaftab had taken over her life. Even after taking her life, he messaged people from her phone, posted on her Instagram, replied to work emails, anything to keep the illusion alive. And, for a while it worked. Her friends grew uneasy. But unease isn't proof. Doubt isn't evidence. And in India, even missing women aren't always considered emergencies. How long can a lie live when it knows no one's listening? By the time friends seriously questioned it, it was already months too late. They weren't wrong, they were just ignored. And Shraddha, once surrounded by people who loved her, was now a ghost in a group chat. A silence too loud to bear. They tried calling, they texted again, they even begged Aaftab for answers. He gave them lies, and they, like the world, were forced to believe until the police finally came knocking. Shraddha's father, Vikas Walker, hadn't spoken to his daughter in months. They had argued mostly about her relationship. He didn't trust Aaftab, felt something dark in him, said so, and she, like many daughters trying to defend their choices, pulled away. But when months passed with no word from her, He knew something was wrong, not suspected. In October 2022, 5 months after her murder, he filed a missing person report in Mumbai. The case was transferred to Delhi. That's when things began to move. Police contacted Aaftab. He was calm, too calm, said Shraddha had left him, that she walked out in May, that she was traveling, might be in it didn't add up, because a father knows his child's voice, and he hadn't heard it, because a father knows when something is wrong, even when the world calls it paranoia. How long is too long to wait, to believe something's wrong? The police began their search, looked into bank records, call logs, found that her phone hadn't moved, that Aaftab was still using it. That's when the mask began to crack. Vikas Walker refused to stay silent. He spoke to media, demanded answers, put pressure where it hurt. And that pressure made Delhi police look closer. A week later, Aaftab confessed. It didn't bring her back, but it stopped the pretending. It came like a storm, sudden, brutal, full of detail no one was prepared for. Aaftab cracked under interrogation, admitted to everything: the murder, the dismemberment, the fridge, the forest, the lies. He took the police to May Rowley, pointed to the places he dumped her, bone by bone, bag by bag, a graveyard built by routine. They found pieces, hair, jaw, bloodstains, bones so small they looked like broken branches. Shraddha was found in fragments. DNA testing confirmed it. It was her. She never left. He just broke her into pieces and left parts of her behind. The police also recovered the fridge, the tools, the phone, the fake texts. The murder wasn't just solved, it was documented. But confession is not justice. Confession doesn't rebuild what he took. Neighbors were stunned. Reporters flooded the area. India watched in horror. Because this wasn't just about a man killing a woman. It was about everything we ignored before it happened. Friends who were dismissed. Warnings that were buried. A father who had to become an investigator to be taken seriously. Aaftab confessed, but the system was guilty. 2.by 2025. The trial is still crawling. Aaftab remains in custody. Lawyers argue over evidence. Media circles like vultures, and Shraddha's father waits. Not for closure that's long gone. He waits for recognition, for justice that doesn't limp behind bureaucracy. The case became a spectacle. Headlines shouted her name, but few spoke for her. The camera zoomed in on grief, but the system zoomed out from urgency. Court delays, forensics backlogs, hearings postponed. Each day, more distance from truth, more silence, and more room for him to twist the story. Why does the system move slowest for the women who died fastest? Aaftab's lawyers filed for a mental health evaluation, claimed he was unstable, that he snapped, that this wasn't premeditated, but the receipt said otherwise. He bought a fridge, he bought a saw, he cut her into 35 pieces and mapped out 18 nights to hide them. That's not snapping, that's planning. And still, people ask the wrong questions. Why didn't she leave? Why didn't she tell someone? She did. She told friends, told her manager. She tried. The right question is, why didn't we act? Justice shouldn't be this hard. But in India, it often is. Because women are still asked to prove they're worth saving. Even after death, every delay is a reminder. She can't speak, but he still can. Every moment he lives freely, even in prison, is another moment. Shraddha remains frozen in time. She never got to grow old, to change jobs, to fall in love again. She got silence, and the system gave her more of it. Justice isn't a verdict. It's speed. It's belief. It's the refusal to delay truth. And Shraddha's truth still waits. Her father keeps showing up to court, not because he believes justice will come swiftly, but because someone has to remind the world that she mattered, that she still matters. She could have been your friend, your sister, someone in your group chat right now telling you she's fine, but she isn't. Shraddha was 27. She laughed at dumb jokes, sent voice notes, shared travel reels, took sunset selfies. She had fears, but she also had hope. She tried to make it work, tried to hold on, until the man she trusted took everything. This wasn't just a murder, it was a betrayal of every second. She spent believing he could change, and the saddest part, there are more Shraddhas right now, texting you, smiling on your feed, walking home in fear. So we ask, if he needed 18 nights to hide her, how many nights do we need to stop pretending we didn't see it coming? Because someone knew, someone always knows, and knowing isn't enough. We owe her more than outrage. We owe her action. We owe her prevention. We owe her the truth. Shraddha deserves to grow older, to have boring days, to laugh at her own wedding, to cry during movies, to live. Instead, her name sits in court files. Her father waits in silence, and we're left asking, how did this happen? It happened because we looked away, and now, we don't get to say her name. Shraddha Walker. For more stories that speak for those who no longer can hit subscribe, because someone needs to remember, and someone needs to act, before we lose another Shraddha.